And just like that, it's April. We're well into this 2-5-1 a week thing. We're working on Jethro Burns' stuff. Here's the riff. It's in the key of D. So we've got ourselves an E minor 7th, an A 7th, and a D, D6 maybe. You could play way up here. There's the E minor 7th, A 7th, D. That's a nice shape for the D6. So it starts on, behind the 8-ball, it starts on the 7th. So here's our D minor arpeggio, and the riff goes like this. Okay. That's all under the D minor, including that. So flat 1? No, it's a 7 to 1. Flat 3, 5, 7. Back to the 5, chromatically to the C sharp, which is kind of belongs to the A chord, right? But it's the 6th of the D. And from there, we're going to look at the A arpeggio. To the 9. Okay, you get a little break there. There's 2 eighth notes tied together. And then chromatic. So you got to get your fingers ready for it because you're asking a lot out of a little dance. So let me know if you took lessons from Jethro. He lived in Evanston. When I went down to get my first, I learned on a bowlback, little Italian mandolin. That's a story of its own. But I went down to Chicago. I lived in Racine, Wisconsin at the time. And I went down to Evanston, Illinois, to a place called the Sound Post. And got a really nice little black A-style ode. And he gave me a card and said, go see this guy. He's the best in the biz. And I called Jethro and would take the train down. Racine is between Milwaukee and Chicago, and I'd take the train down and just sit in his basement for an hour or so and just learned a ton, fell in love with the guy and his playing and really got smitten. And we became pretty good friends. He played our wedding, and we stayed in touch and miss him dearly. But he is without a doubt the world's greatest mandolin player. So, and it's just everything about him. So reach out, find his stuff, get to know his stuff. I mentioned it before, do it again. Find Don Sternberg. He lives in Chicago, and he's a brilliant jazz mandolin player, and Jethro's right-hand guy for the Jethro Burns Quartet. All of the Homer and Jethro stuff. It's pretty hilarious comic stuff, but man, the mandolin playing in there is out of this world. So I won't even attempt to say what it is about Jethro's playing that's so cool, but there's things about it that I've tried to incorporate, and we're going to cover them all year round. Surround the chord tone things, get to know your chord shapes and your arpeggios. Here. And take this simple approach for these things, but really give it out to your wrist and your fingers, and be able to learn to fly over those. And when you listen to Jethro's music, you can see how he uses those as a tool, and it's kind of beyond mortal humans to be able to use those fast arpeggiatic riffs. Can you say that? Sweeping the fingerboard, you know? That kind of stuff. Obviously, light years beyond me, but it's excellent stuff to practice. It's a class example of simple but not easy. And anyway, all hail to Jethro Burns. Thank you very much for paying attention and staying tuned. And we'll launch into the rest of this stuff come April, whatever the first Monday in April is. See you then. Thanks a lot.